Let me ask you something straight. How many years are you willing to waste before you decide enough is enough? 5 years? 10? 20? Because here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. Most people are willing to waste their entire lives. They'll spend 40 years working at something they don't care about, complaining about circumstances they could have changed, and then wonder why life didn't turn out the way they hoped. But not you. Not anymore. Not after today. See, there's a difference between drifting through life and designing your life. And the cost of drift is absolutely enormous. I'm talking about dreams that die quietly, potential that evaporates, and years that slip away while you're busy making excuses. The sad part is, it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. But it takes a decision, not tomorrow's decision, not next Monday's resolution, today's decision. I was 25 years old, broke, with nothing to show for 6 years of hard work, 25. And I had pennies in my pocket, promises I couldn't keep to my family, and a future that looked exactly like my past. That's when I had to face the most difficult question a person can face. Is this really it? Is this all there is? And more importantly, if I don't change something, where will I be at 35, at 45, at 65? That question haunted me. It should haunt you too if you're not where you want to be. Because time doesn't care about your excuses. Time doesn't wait for you to get inspired. Time just moves, with or without you. Now here's what I learned that changed everything. Success isn't something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Read that again. You don't chase success down the street like it's a bus you missed. You become the kind of person who naturally attracts the opportunities, the relationships, the income, and the lifestyle you're after. And that transformation, that becoming, that's what we're going to talk about over these next 5 months. 5 months. That's all I'm asking. Not 5 years. Not a lifetime commitment. Just 5 focused, intentional, disciplined months. And I promise you this, if you do what I'm about to share with you, 5 months from now, you won't recognize your life. You won't recognize your bank account. You won't recognize your confidence. You won't even recognize yourself in the mirror. But here's the catch, and there's always a catch. You've got to start with the truth. Not the truth you tell other people, not the truth that makes you look good at parties. The brutal, uncomfortable, wake you up at night truth about where you actually are right now. Most people lie to themselves. They say they're doing fine when they're drowning. They say they're working hard when they're working confused. They say they don't have time when what they really mean is they don't have priorities. And that's month one's entire job, getting honest about what's really going on. So here's your first assignment, and it starts this weekend. I want you to take a Saturday or Sunday, just one day, and I want you to get alone. No distractions, no phone, no television, no people telling you what you want to hear. Just you, a notebook, and some serious questions. Ask yourself, where am I really? Not where I wish I was, not where I pretend to be. Where am I actually standing right now in my finances, my health, my relationships, my skills, my income? Write it down, all of it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Because you can't change what you won't acknowledge. You can't fix what you won't face. And you can't grow from where you think you are. You can only grow from where you actually are. Then ask the second question, where do I want to be? Not in 20 years. Not in some fantasy future where everything magically works out. Where do I want to be in 5 months? What would be different? What would I have learned? What would I have earned? Who would I have become? Be specific. Don't give me vague wishes like I want to be successful or I want to be happy. That's not a plan. That's a greeting card. I want numbers. I want skills. I want characteristics. If you can't measure it, you can't achieve it. Here's what happened to me. I met a man who asked me a question that seemed simple but shook me to my core. He said, how much money have you saved in the last 6 years? And I said, nothing. And he said, then I have to tell you you're in trouble. Not said with meanness, said with truth. And that truth was the beginning of everything changing. That weekend of honest assessment is where your 5 months begin. Not with motivation, not with inspiration, with truth. Because everything we build from here has to be built on a foundation of reality, not fantasy. Now, once you know where you are and where you want to be, you need to understand something fundamental about how success actually works. It works on philosophy. It works on how you think, and most people have it completely backwards. They think success is about finding the right job, the right opportunity, the right break. No, success is about becoming the right person. When you change, everything changes around you. When you get better, everything gets better. When you grow, your circumstances grow. It's not the other way around. So month one is about changing your philosophy. It's about changing how you see the world, how you see yourself, and how you see possibility. And the only way to change your philosophy is to feed your mind differently than you've been feeding it. Here's what I want you to do starting day one of month one. 30 minutes a day. That's it. 30 minutes of reading something that makes you think, that challenges your current understanding, that introduces you to ideas bigger than your current problems. Not the news, not social media, not gossip or entertainment, books, articles, wisdom from people who've gone where you want to go. 30 minutes seems so small. That's the point. You can't fail at 30 minutes. You can't say you don't have 30 minutes. Everyone has 30 minutes. They just choose to spend it on things that don't matter. Spend it on things that do. And here's what happens. In 1 week, that's 3.5 hours of feeding your mind. In 1 month, that's 15 hours. In 5 months, that's 75 hours of new thinking, new ideas, new perspectives. You will not be the same person. You can't be. It's impossible to consume that much wisdom and remain unchanged. Start building your personal library, not a fancy one, not an expensive one, just a real one. 5 books to start. Books on success, on economics, on communication, on leadership, on personal development. Read them slowly, take notes, underline, argue with the author in the margins, make them yours. And while you're reading, start keeping a journal. Nothing fancy, just write. Write about what you're learning, write about what you're thinking. Write about what you're noticing in yourself and in the world around you. Because here's what happens when you write. You clarify, you process, you make the invisible visible. You take the foggy thoughts bouncing around in your head and you pin them down on paper where you can examine them, challenge them, improve them. The journal becomes your laboratory. It's where you experiment with new ideas before you test them in the real world. It's where you track what's working and what's not. It's where you have honest conversations with yourself about your progress, your setbacks, your breakthroughs. By the end of month one, you should have 3 things: a brutally honest assessment of where you are, 30 days of feeding your mind, 30 minutes a day, and a journal full of insights about what you're learning and how you're changing. That's the foundation. That's where everything else gets built. Because you can't build a successful life on a weak foundation. You can't build wealth on poverty thinking. You can't build influence on self-doubt. You can't build a future on yesterday's philosophy. Month one isn't about making money yet. It's not about big external changes yet. It's about the internal shift that makes everything else possible. It's about becoming someone different, someone better, someone ready for what's coming in months 2, 3, 4, and 5. The question is, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to get honest? Are you willing to read when you're tired? Are you willing to write when it's easier to watch television? Are you willing to think when it's more comfortable to just drift? Because here's what I've learned in all my years. Life doesn't reward wishes. Life rewards work. And not just any work, the right work. The work that changes you from the inside out. That's month one. That's where we begin. And if you'll commit to it, really commit, then everything changes from here. Now let's talk about something that makes most people uncomfortable. Money. And I don't mean talking about how much you wish you had. I mean talking about the real relationship you have with money right now. Because here's what I've noticed. People treat money like it's some mysterious force that's supposed to show up on its own. Like it's supposed to rain down from the sky if they just work hard enough and hope hard enough. That's not how it works. That's never how it works. Month 2 is where we fix your economic foundation. And I'm telling you, if you don't get this right, nothing else matters. You can have all the positive thinking in the world, all the motivation, all the dreams, but if your finances are a mess, you're building a house on sand, eventually everything comes crashing down. Let me share something with you that changed my entire life. It's what I call the philosophy of pennies and dollars. Most people look at pennies and think they don't matter. They leave them on the counter. They throw them away. They act like pennies are beneath them. But here's what I learned. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you can't respect a penny, you won't respect a dollar. If you can't manage a little, you won't manage a lot. The person who says, I'll start saving when I make more money, that person is lying to themselves. They won't. Because they haven't developed the discipline with what they have now. You don't suddenly become disciplined when you get more money. You become disciplined first, and then more money comes. That's the order. That's always the order. So here's what we're going to do in month 2. We're going to establish what I call the 70/30 rule. And this is non-negotiable. This is the difference between financial disaster and financial freedom. 70% of everything you earn, you live on. 30% you divide into 3 accounts, 10% for giving, 10% for investing, and 10% for saving. Now, I already hear the excuses. I can't live on 70%. My bills are too high. My expenses are too much. All right, then your lifestyle is too expensive for your income. That's not a money problem. That's a discipline problem. That's a priority problem. And it needs to be fixed now, not later. The first 10%, the giving that's about gratitude, that's about recognizing that you didn't get here alone. And a person who won't give becomes a person who can only take, and a person who only takes becomes poor in ways money can't fix. The second 10%, the investing that's about making your money work for you instead of you always working for money. This is money that goes into things that grow. Stocks, real estate, a business, your education. This is money that multiplies. This is money that builds your future while you're building your present. The third 10%, the saving, that's your protection, that's your emergency fund. That's what keeps you from being desperate when the car breaks down or the job disappears or life happens the way life always happens. This money sits there and gives you something more valuable than wealth. It gives you options, and options give you power. Here's what most people do wrong. They spend first and save what's left over. That's backwards. That's completely backwards. You save first and spend what's left over. You pay yourself first, not last. Because if you don't, you'll always find a way to spend everything. There will always be something that needs buying, something that needs fixing, something that seems important in the moment. But let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. Go study the ant. I'm serious. Go watch ants for an hour. What do they do all summer? They gather, they store, they prepare. They don't gather food for today. They gather food for winter. They don't wait until winter comes and then panic. They prepare while the sun is shining. Nature teaches us better than any business school ever could. The ant doesn't need a seminar on financial planning. The ant doesn't need motivation to save. The ant just knows summer doesn't last forever. Easy times don't last forever. You prepare during plenty for the times of little. But humans make money in the summer and spend it all by Tuesday. Humans get a raise and immediately raise their lifestyle to match. Humans act like summer is permanent. And then winter comes, and it always comes, and they're shocked, they're devastated, they're unprepared. Don't be that person, be the ant. Gather during summer, save during harvest. Prepare during plenty, because I promise you winter is coming. Not to scare you, just to prepare you. Now here's the beautiful part about the 70/30 rule. When you start following it, really following it, not just thinking about it, something incredible happens. Your 30% starts to grow. Your investments start to compound. Your savings start to stack. And suddenly, you have something you never had before. Breathing room. Margin. Space between you and disaster. And when you have that space, you make better decisions. You don't take the first job that comes along out of desperation. You don't stay in bad situations because you can't afford to leave. You don't say yes to things you should say no to just because you need the money. Financial discipline creates life options, and life options create freedom. But here's what you need to understand about your personal economy. You can't wait for the government to fix the economy. You can't wait for your company to give you a raise. You can't wait for conditions to be perfect. You have to create your own economy, your own system, your own financial world that works regardless of what's happening out there. The national economy goes up and down. That's what it does. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's terrible. But your personal economy, that's up to you. You can have a phenomenal personal economy in a terrible national economy if you follow the right principles. And you can be broke in the best economy in the world if you're following the wrong principles. So month 2 is about getting your financial house in order. It's about setting up the 70/30 rule and sticking to it like your life depends on it, because it does. It's about learning to respect money, manage money, multiply money. It's about becoming someone who attracts wealth instead of someone who repels it through poor decisions and poor discipline. And here's my challenge to you. Start this month, not next month, not when you get that raise, not when conditions are better. Start with what you have. Start with this paycheck. Start with today's dollar. Because the habits you develop with little money are the same habits you'll have with big money. And if you can't manage $1,000, you won't manage 100,000. If you can't manage 100,000, you won't manage 1,000,000. Money is a test. It tests your character. It tests your discipline. It tests your wisdom. And most people fail the test not because they don't make enough, but because they don't keep enough. They don't respect enough. They don't plan enough. Month 2 is about passing the test. It's about proving to yourself and to the universe that you can be trusted with more by being faithful with what you have now. Do this right, and everything changes. Do this wrong, and nothing else we talk about matters. It's that simple. It's that serious. It's that important. Let me tell you something that's going to challenge everything you think about work. You don't get paid for the hour. You don't get paid for the day. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour, the value you bring to the day. And that's where most people get it completely wrong. They think if they just show up and put in the time, they deserve more money. That's not how the marketplace works. That's not how life works. The marketplace doesn't pay for time. The marketplace pays for value. Month 3 is about skill development. It's about becoming more valuable. It's about transforming yourself into someone worth more in the marketplace than you are right now. And this is where the real transformation happens. Because when you become more valuable, you don't have to chase opportunities. Opportunities chase you. You don't have to beg for raises. Raises become inevitable. You don't have to worry about job security. You become the security. Here's the question you need to ask yourself. What is my current value in the marketplace? Not what you think you're worth, not what you wish you were worth. What are you actually worth right now based on the skills you have, the knowledge you possess, the problems you can solve? Be honest. Because the marketplace is going to be honest with you whether you like it or not. If you're making $30,000 a year, the marketplace is telling you that's what you're worth right now. Not as a human being, not as a person, but as an economic entity, that's your current value. Now, you can get angry about that, or you can get better. Getting angry doesn't change your value, getting better does. So the question becomes, how do I become more valuable? How do I go from being worth 30,000 to being worth 50,000 to being worth 100,000 to being worth whatever number represents the life I want to live? And the answer is simple, but it's not easy. You work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Here's what I mean by that. Most people work hard on their jobs. They show up on time. They do what they're told. They put in their hours. And that's fine. That's what you're supposed to do. But that's not what makes you valuable. That's what makes you employed. There's a difference, a big difference. Working harder on yourself means when the workday is over, your development doesn't stop. When you clock out, you clock in to your own university. You read, you study, you learn, you practice. You develop skills that make you rare, skills that make you remarkable, skills that make you someone people want to hire, want to promote, want to keep. Let me share something with you. The most valuable skill you can develop is communication. Not computer skills, not technical skills. Communication. The ability to stand up and speak. The ability to write clearly. The ability to sell an idea. The ability to influence, persuade, inspire. If you can communicate effectively, you can write your own ticket in this world. If you can't, you're at the mercy of people who can. And here's the good news. Communication is a learnable skill. You're not born with it. You develop it. You practice it. You get better at it over time. So if you can't speak well now, so what? Start practicing. Join a speaking group. Record yourself. Watch yourself. Critique yourself. Get better. Because every improvement in your communication skill is worth thousands of dollars in the marketplace. But it's not just communication. It's problem solving. It's creativity. It's leadership. It's the ability to see what needs to be done and do it without being told. It's the ability to take responsibility instead of making excuses. It's the ability to finish what you start. It's the ability to do excellent work when good work would be acceptable. These skills, these rare, valuable skills, they don't develop by accident. They develop by intention. They develop because you decide you're going to spend the next 5 years becoming someone worth knowing, worth listening to, worth hiring, worth promoting. 5 years. That's what I'm asking you to think about. Where will you be in 5 years if you spend 30 minutes a day developing yourself? Where will you be if you read, if you study, if you practice, if you improve? You'll be in a completely different place, a completely different income bracket, a completely different life. But here's what most people do. They spend 5 years, and at the end of it, they're in the same place they were at the beginning. Same skills, same income, same complaints, same excuses. 5 years passed, but they didn't pass through 5 years of growth. They passed through 5 years of repetition. Same year, 5 times. Don't let that be you. Don't waste the next 5 years. Don't waste the next 5 months. Use them, invest them, turn them into something that transforms your value in the marketplace. Now, let me tell you about another skill that's worth its weight in gold. Learning to work full-time on your job and part-time on your fortune. Your job is what pays your bills. Your fortune is what changes your life. And most people never build a fortune because they never work on it. They work on their job 40 hours a week and then they stop. They think that's enough. It's not. Your job is important. Don't misunderstand me. You should be excellent at your job. You should give your employer more than they pay for. You should be the kind of employee that companies fight to keep. But your job alone won't make you wealthy. Your job pays your bills. Your fortune, the thing you build on the side, the skills you develop, the investments you make, the business you start, that's what creates wealth. So month 3 is about identifying what you need to learn, what you need to practice, what you need to develop that will make you more valuable 12 months from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. It's about having a plan for your own development that's as detailed as your company's plan for its development. Here's what I want you to do. Make a list of 5 skills that would dramatically increase your value in the marketplace. Not 500 skills, 5. Be specific. Maybe it's public speaking, maybe it's writing, maybe it's sales, maybe it's leadership, maybe it's a technical skill in your field. Whatever it is, write it down. Then, next to each skill, write down how you're going to develop it over the next 90 days. What books will you read? What courses will you take? What practice will you do? What mentors will you seek out? Because a skill without a development plan is just a wish. And we're done with wishes. We're in the business of plans now. And while you're developing skills, you need to understand something crucial about income. Your income will rarely exceed your personal development. If you want to earn more, become more. If you want to have more, become more. If you want to do more, become more. It's not about doing more of what you're already doing. It's about becoming more than you currently are. That's why some people make $50,000 a year no matter where they work, no matter what industry they're in. Their personal development level is at $50,000. Until they grow, their income won't grow. It might fluctuate a little, but it won't really grow. And that's why other people make $200,000 a year regardless of circumstances. They've developed themselves to that level. They've become worth that much. The question is, what level have you developed yourself to? And more importantly, what level are you committed to developing yourself to over these next few months? Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. You're not going to get rich working for someone else. You might make a good living, you might be comfortable, but real wealth, the kind that gives you total freedom, that comes from ownership, it comes from building something that works, whether you're there or not. It comes from leverage. But here's what you need to understand. You can't build a successful business if you haven't first become a successful person. You can't lead a company if you can't lead yourself. You can't manage employees if you can't manage your own time, your own emotions, your own finances. Everything starts with you. Everything starts with who you're becoming. So use month 3 to become someone different, someone better, someone more skilled, more knowledgeable, more valuable. Because when you change, everything changes. When you get better, life gets better. When you grow, opportunities grow. The marketplace is always looking for people who are rare, people who can do what others can't do, people who know what others don't know, people who see what others don't see. Be that person. Become that person. And watch what happens to your income, your influence, and your options. Month 3 is about transformation through skill. It's about investing in yourself the way you'd invest in a business. It's about understanding that you are the business, you are the product, you are what you're selling to the marketplace. And the better the product, the higher the price. It's that simple. So get to work on yourself. Read the books. Take the courses. Practice the skills. Have the hard conversations. Do the things that are uncomfortable now so life becomes comfortable later. Because I promise you, the pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Choose your pain wisely. Now we come to something that's going to make or break everything we've talked about so far, and that's the people you surround yourself with. Month 4 is about association. And let me tell you something straight. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look at your 5 closest friends. Look at their income. Look at their health. Look at their attitudes. Look at their dreams. That's your future if you don't make some changes. This is the hardest conversation we're going to have because it requires you to make decisions that might hurt some feelings. It requires you to be protective of your time and selective about your associations. And some people are going to call that being mean. Some people are going to say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. You are supposed to change. That's the whole point. Here's what you need to understand. Successful people aren't mean. They're protective. They guard their time like it's gold because it is gold. They guard their energy because they know that negative people drain it. They guard their vision because they know that small-minded people will kill it if they get the chance. So you've got to make a decision. Who stays and who goes? Who gets unlimited access to you and who gets limited access? And I'm not saying you abandon people who are struggling. I'm not saying you turn your back on old friends. I'm saying you limit how much of your valuable time you give to people who are pulling you down instead of lifting you up. There are 2 types of associations: limited and expanded. Limited associations are people you love, people you care about, but people who aren't going where you're going. You limit the time. You stay kind. You stay connected. But you don't let them influence your decisions anymore. You don't let them talk you out of your dreams. You don't let their fears become your limitations. Expanded associations are people who challenge you, inspire you, push you to become better. These are the people you want to spend more time with. These are the mentors, the achievers, the people who are already living the life you want to live. Find these people, study these people, learn from these people. And here's something crucial. If you want to attract successful people into your life, you've got to become interesting. Successful people don't have time for boring people who only complain. They don't have time for people who drain their energy with endless problems and zero solutions. They want to be around people who are growing, learning, doing something with their lives. So become that person. Become someone worth knowing. Read interesting books. Have interesting conversations. Work on interesting projects. Develop interesting skills. When you become interesting, interesting people become interested in you. Month 5 is where everything comes together. This is the leadership month. This is where you transition from being a student to being a teacher. Because here's what I've learned. You don't really understand something until you can teach it to someone else. And you don't really master something until you can help someone else master it. Leadership isn't about having a title. Leadership is about setting the pace. It's about being the example. It's about showing people what's possible by doing it yourself first. If you want to lead others to success, you've got to walk the path first. You've got to prove it works. You've got to become the evidence. And here's the beautiful part about helping others succeed. It multiplies your own success. When you help 10 people, you create 10 success stories. When you help 100 people, you create 100 success stories. And all those success stories connect back to you. They open doors for you. They create opportunities for you. They build a reputation that money can't buy. So month 5 is about giving back what you've learned. It's about sharing what's working. It's about becoming a leader in your family, in your workplace, in your community. Not because you're perfect, not because you've arrived, but because you're on the path and you're willing to help others get on the path too. The daily habits you've built over these 5 months, the reading, the discipline, the saving, the learning, the associations, these habits are now your character. And your character is your destiny. Who you've become in these 5 months is who you'll be for years to come if you keep these disciplines alive. So here's my final challenge to you. Start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, today. Take out a notebook, do the honest assessment, start the reading, set up the 70/30 rule, identify the skills you need, evaluate your associations, begin leading by example. 5 months from now, you won't believe the life you're living, but only if you start, only if you commit, only if you decide that enough is enough and it's time to design a life worth living instead of drifting through a life of regret.